My channel Anupma Biology classes. In this video we will discuss on the second part of the living world, some important questions and answers. Here we will discuss on important questions, higher order thinking skills questions with answers, and the value based questions with answers. So now let's start the topic. Here the first is that is important questions of the living world. So, very briefly explain the following. First one, that is the polytypic genus. So, what is polytypic genus? A genus containing more than one species is called polytypic genus, like Panthera, Solanum, etc. What is holotype specimen? Original specimen is called holotypic or holotype specimen. What is neotype specimen? A new specimen, when the original one is lost, is referred to as neotype specimen. What is taxon? As we discussed about the taxon in the previous video, which is the first part of the living world. So, a natural taxon refers to a group of similar, genetically related individuals having certain characters distinct from those of other groups. Example, all insects form a taxon, so do the fishes, frogs, birds, etc. What are categories? The various grouping levels or ranks in classification are known as categories. There are 7 major categories, and these are kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. What is artificial classification? Artificial classification is based on one or a few superficial resemblance rather than on natural or evolutionary relationships. Now, what is phylogenetic classification? The classification reflecting the evolutionary relationships of organisms is called the phylogenetic classification. What is systematics? Systematic is a scientific study that attempts to recognize, describe, name, and arrange the diverse organism according to an organized plan based on the unique features of species and groups. What is biological classification? Biological classification is the scientific ordering of organisms in a hierarchical series of groups on the basis of their relationships. So in the next video, we will discuss on the biological classifications of the organism. Now what is nomenclature? Nomenclature is the method of naming of organism. Now, what is herbarium? Herbarium is the collection of pressed, dried and preserved plants mounted on paper sheet, properly labeled, systematically arranged and available for reference or study. What is zoological park? An enclosed paper where live wild animals are kept for the public exhibition is called a zoological park or zoo or zoological garden. What is insectaria? These are special insect areas where flowering plants are grown and visitors can see butterfly, moths, etc. What is Zoological Museum? Zoological Museum is a building used for the preservation, storage, and exhibition of inanimate objects which illustrate the human or natural history. The term natural history includes all natural objects such as animals, plants, and minerals. Now, hot questions with answers. First one is define the diversity in the living world. The living world comprises of innumerable forms of animate, that is, living objects which show differences and similarities among themselves as well as with the organism of past. The diversity in the living world therefore includes the number and types of organisms present on earth and the relationship with their ancestors. Now, explain why amoeba is living and a sand particle is non-living matter. Amoeba exhibits the distinctive characteristics of living organism, whereas a sand particle doesn't. For example, amoeba shows growth, reproduction, metabolism, ability to sense the environment, and many other characteristics of the living beings. The sand particles fails to exhibit the characteristics of the living organism. Give one distinct characteristic which separates human beings from all other living organisms. So, a human being is aware of himself, that is, has self consciousness. This characteristic separates human beings from other organisms. Now, here you can see that the taxonomic categories showing hierarchical arrangement in ascending order are shown below. Fill the appropriate categories in blank space marked A, B, C and D. So here you can see the hierarchical arrangement or the taxonomic categories. So what is this category? You know that you have an idea about the taxonomic category. Here you can see that the kingdom, after that A, which is you will have to fill this, then class, then B and C, then genus and then D species. So here you can see that what is A? After the kingdom, the second one is phylum or division. After the phylum or division, there is the class, and after the class, there is order. And after the order, there is family. In family, genus, and after the genus, the last one is the species. So, the taxonomic categories start from the kingdom and ends on species. Now, after this, do you think zoological parks, museum and botanical gardens are meant for recreational purpose or they have some scientific value? Zoological parks, museum and botanical gardens help scientists to study the diversity of living organisms in their natural habitats or from the actual specimens. What changes are needed to convert a sand particle into a prokaryotic cell? The following changes are needed to convert a sand particle into a prokaryotic cell, like inner part of sand particle has to be removed and living protoplasm is to be introduced into it. The outer covering is also replaced by a cell wall. The living protoplasm should contain nucleoid. The protoplasm should not contain any other organelles except a few ribosomes, that is 70S. So, this is all about the changes which are responsible or important to change the sand particle into a prokaryotic cell. Now, after this, here they study the following table of organisms with their taxonomic categories. Some of the columns are left blank and denoted by A, B, C and D. Write the correct options in each case. So here you can see them some common names, then biological names, classes and the phylum or division. So here in biological names you can see Homo sapiens and class is Mammalia, phylum is Chordata. So what is A? A, you know that A is a man. The second one is the mango. So biological name of mango is Mangifera indica. And the third one, that is the housefly, which the biological name is Musca domestica, and the class from which housefly belong is Insecta, and it related to the phylum Arthropoda. After that, the last one, that is the wheat. Wheat biological name is Tritica mestivum, and it related to the class which is Monocotyledone, and the phylum or division of the wheat is Angiospermae. Now some value-based questions with answers. So see here, Ravindra invited Mandeep to visit Lucknow to spend some time in National Botanical Garden, right? Mandeep replied that she is not much interested in visiting a garden as he has visited many beautiful gardens in her city. Ravindra convinced Mandeep that botanical gardens are different from other gardens in many ways and that she will enjoy her stay. So, read the above passage and answer the following questions. First one, what is a botanical garden? A botanical garden is a place where plants are grown for scientific study, conservation, public education, aesthetics and recreation. What value is reflected by Ravindra? As a good friend, Ravindra tried to enhance her friend's knowledge by briefing her about the importance of botanical gardens. Now, the next paragraph is, While visiting different portions of a botanical garden, Raman saw a board displaying herbarium. He asked Ravindra, "What is herbarium?" Ravindra advised him to go inside the building and find out himself about its nature. So, after this, what is herbarium? The answer is a herbarium is a collection of pressed, dried, and preserved plants mounted on paper sheets, properly labeled, systematically arranged, and available for reference or study. What is the importance of herbarium? Herbarium is a repository of plant specimens which can be used for identification, education, and training, research, and preserving type specimens. Why did Ravindra suggest Raman to go inside the herbarium? Ravindra wanted him to collect first hand information about herbarium himself. Now, the next paragraph is during summer vacation, Sharma uncle came from Ghaziabad to our house with his 10 years old son and asked me and my younger brother to accompany him to Delhi Zoological Park. My brother told uncle that there is no need of going to Delhi Zoological Park as we have a park in our neighborhood. Uncle listened to him and then clarified the differences between a neighborhood park and a zoological park. So, what is zoological park? An enclosed place where live wild animals and kept for public exhibition is known as zoological park. What is the aim of establishing zoological parks? The aim for establishing zoological park is to increase public interest in the understanding of wildlife protection and conservation of wildlife. What values displayed by Sarma uncle? Sarma uncle wanted to familiarize the younger generation about the wild fauna. Now, the next paragraph is Hardeep brought beautiful flowers from a nursery in Himachal Pradesh. Pranav also liked the flowers and he requested Hardeep to order the same for him. Hardeep forgot the name of the plant and he asked his grandfather about it. His grandfather replied that it is known as Bichu Butti in Haryana. Hardeep ordered plants of Bichu Butti on the phone to the nursery in Himachal Pradesh. After a few days, he received the plant which was different from those growing in Hardeep's garden. He failed to understand the cause of this confusion and discussed the matter with his botanist uncle, who explained to him the cause of confusion, that is, the use of different common names in different regions and languages for the same plants. So, the question is, what is meant by scientific nomenclature? It is the application of scientific names to organisms. What is the advantage of using scientific names? Each kind of organism is given a scientific name. Scientific names are universal, being used all over the world, irrespective of the language of the people, and therefore it eliminates the likely confusion of multiple names of the same organism. What message is given by uncle? It is better to use scientific names to avoid confusion. So thank you so much. This is all about the video second part, which is the living world. Now if you have any questions, any queries or any suggestions, you can ask in the comment section below. Thank you for the watching.